Terrible. So, how's everyone doing? This is another Daily Torch. Today we're smoking the Boulevard Cofradia. Cofradia? It's one of those names. You'll figure it out. You'll get there. And I will.
Cofradia.
That's right. Cofradia.
Sure. I
Look at
spelled
that.
Holy shit.
Look at that face. Look at that. Perfect. If I'm going to butcher it, I might as well go 100%, right?
Hard. I mean, do you have native Spanish speakers in your family?
Doesn't mean I learned how to speak. My grandma refused to teach me how to speak Spanish. She's like, you don't need it. You're here. Unless you came from somewhere else, you don't need it.
Listen. Do you have native Spanish speakers in your family? His last name literally is Spanish.
He should be able to say it because his last name is Spanish. Mine's not.
How does this even work?
Who knows? How close can you get?
Cofradia?
See, look at that. You said it.
Cofradia is how she was saying it. She was saying Cofradia.
Okay.
Anyways, this is another Daily Torch. What do you guys think so far? Lighting it up.
I'm late.
I'm just lighting it up too.
Okay.
So do we want to go over the particulars? I saw Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, and I saw Ecuadorian Sumatra. I don't know. They all agreed on binder was Connecticut broadleaf, and filler was Honduran Nicaraguan blend, long filler blend.
So they're calling the wrapper Connecticut?
No, I saw Ecuadorian Sumatra, and I saw Connecticut broadleaf. I think it's Ecuadorian Sumatra, if I'm being honest. Because broadleaf that's this dark
Yeah.
is going to taste like a carita.
Huh.
The little Mikirides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miki. No,
This is
forget it.
so good.
Forget it.
Just
Licorice.
keep going.
No.
I'm going to keep going too.
No. I refuse.
Anyway, what do you guys get on this thing? First of all, general impression. Do you like it off the rip?
Off the light, it's pretty good. It starts off kind of mild to me,
Yeah.
but it does have.
You know what's funny? I don't get the tingly tongue. Sorry, I totally cut you off there. I
No, it's
apologize.
fine.
I don't get the tingly tongue, but I do get pepper flavor.
I got the tingly tongue.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't get the tingly tongue either.
But I do get black pepper. Like there's a ton of
Yes.
black pepper and the flavor of black pepper, not the effect of black pepper.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm getting that more on the back of the palate though.
Yeah, I mean I've got it through over almost the entire palate,
Yeah.
except for the front.
I got
very
the,
front.
I got the black pepper.
Yeah, no, there's.
And it's light. It's not like a in-your-face pepper.
I mean, I wouldn't call it light. I just wouldn't call it. Like I said, there's a lot of black pepper flavor, not a lot of black pepper effect.
Okay.
Is what it tastes like to me. But the flavor itself is very black pepper to me.
Yes.
But it doesn't do. Normally, when I have a cigar that's got a lot of black pepper, you also get that like prickly tongue thing going on. You know what I mean? I don't know what that is, but I get none of that with this.
Interesting. Because I've got the tingly tongue, and I anticipate it's going to go away.
I got a little bit of wood out of there. Not much.
Yeah, I was gonna say I get a little bit of cedar. I get some espresso.
Just a hint of it. Yeah.
I'm not even sure it's full espresso. It might just be like French roast coffee. It's not quite dark enough. There's definitely a coffee note. I don't get much from the Honduran filler. I'm not picking up the earthy notes that you would normally get from Honduran. I should say the dirt notes.
How far are you
Right.
into your cigar?
The same about you. We just lit it.
No, okay.
Yeah, but well, I'm about the same as you already.
Well, yeah, you could start 30 minutes after me. You'd still be ketchup, and 5 minutes later, you're like, "Are you still smoking that cigar?" Yes, Kevin, I'm still smoking that cigar.
Hey, I enjoy it quick. Mind you, when it gets hot at the end, that's where
That's
it gets.
not what she said.
Exactly. She doesn't have to. It's all about me. Napoleon complex.
You're too tall.
I am too tall.
I love how they're like, Napoleon wasn't short. He was 5'6". I'm like, that's still short.
That's still pretty short,
Nah,
especially to the standards nowadays. Still.
You know what it is? So someone told me,
but for the time, that wasn't short.
No.
well, it was still short if you went into the like Norse lands, into what's now Norway, Finland.
Yeah, the Viking Norse
apparently,
situations.
the unit measure was different from France to England.
You're kidding.
So what's a dram in
That makes
France?
sense. Actually, you got to be different.
What's a dram?
Anyway, I'm going to finish my story, and then I'm going to come back to you and your fucking dram.
Yes.
So, apparently, in England, the way that the measures were written, they thought he was 5'2". They'd never seen him, just on paper, when it was communicated, they thought he was 5'2". And he was, I don't know if he was 5'6" or 5'8", but he was...
Because we thought the same thing. Like, when we saw him standing next to other soldiers, he doesn't look short. He looks about the same as the rest of them.
That was a movie.
In the movie, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
But they portrayed him
it's
still being...
Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Well, yeah, but they portrayed him still being short. They had him slouching down a bit, too.
I think he was still... Like, he was probably... I mean, he was approaching average. Probably.
Almost.
But when you think of even that, like going all the way back to like Roman generals, right? Like the original commanders of the legions were the most capable, the biggest, strongest, fastest, whatever.
Yes.
Right? So when you think of generals, you think of people who stand above the rest of the army. And he clearly didn't.
No.
Although he was obviously very capable, so it didn't really matter. Until, was it Waterloo?
Yeah, Waterloo's where he lost.
Yeah.
He was still alive after that, though. Just, what was it?
Just diminished.
Not just diminished, but they exiled him a second time after that to a smaller island.
Well, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
So, this is a typical Dominican Republic tobacco.
Except there's no Dominican in it.
What?
There's no, it's Ecuador, Nicaragua, and Honduras. There's not a speck of Dominican tobacco in this thing, apparently.
So, I'm tasting the Honduran.
Are you getting that already?
Yeah. It's the earth tones where it's more gritty earth is what it would be for me. As I remember as a kid, when I ate dirt.
Listen, I when I think of gritty,
Let me
like
tell you
dirt,
what dirt tastes like.
When I think gritty dirt, I think of the umbagog because it actually does have
This
dirt in it.
This reminds me a lot of the Umbagog.
Yeah, flavor profile wise, yes, but like, you remember how I told you if you like moved your teeth a little bit, you could feel that grit from that cigar, almost like a light sand in your
Yeah,
mouth.
I've never had that problem.
Me and Casey have it. We've had it, and it's noticeable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
It's possible. Listen, I just never noticed. I also don't smoke the Umbagog that much. There's other stuff I'd rather smoke at that same price point. I don't
Fair.
dislike it, but there's other stuff that I would pick ahead of it.
Fair.
Like Umbagog or Siri V. Siri V every time.
That is true. You'll always pick that.
But I also have an affinity for sun-grown.
Are you picking up that pepper a little bit more now? I'm getting that little bit of kind of stabbiness on the center of my tongue now.
No, I'm still not getting that prickly feeling. I can get a little bit. I don't know if it's earth or something more natural, we'll say. A little bit of earth. Okay, now I'm getting a little bit of the Honduran. Not a bunch. It still doesn't stand out.
You have to focus to get it. Mm-hmm. All around, it's not a bad cigar.
No, I would have no problem giving this to people. I would have no problem smoking it. I have the same problem with all the legacy Cuban bands that aren't Cuban.
Yeah.
Like the second, we'll call them the second band.
In seconds.
Is that they're trading on history and tradition.
Yeah.
Instead of
Right.
making their own.
They're trading on the Bolivar, the Cuban Bolivar. No, I mean, they just always get a little lazy. And this is much better than some of the stuff out there. I refuse to smoke non-Cuban Cohibas. They're trash. They're just not good.
You're not wrong.
I've literally told people to put them down. Unless it's 100% what they want. If they're like, I don't know what I should smoke, and they grab a Cohiba, I go put that down. Let me sell you something better.
That you'll like.
Yeah.
Not
That won't
hate
be
yourself in the
disappointing.
morning.
And the stuff is so, like the non-Cuban Cuban labels are so expensive compared to everything else.
Like the classic and the.
Dude, the Monte Cristo, what I have to pay for Monte Cristos in there is absurd. And it's a perfectly decent cigar. It's smooth. It's, unobtrusive.
But it doesn't stand out like it should to be priced that way.
No, there's not a single thing special about it. And honestly, I like the white label more. And the volume series they've come out with is amazing.
I actually haven't tried the volume series because I don't really mess with Monte Cristo all that often. It's not in my flavor profile, so I usually don't smoke it.
No, I get that. But the volume series is good.
Yeah.
Not volume 1 was more like a traditional Monte. Volume 2 is an exceptional blend.
Like where they decided to stand out from.
Yeah,
they
decided to get outside of their traditional scope a little bit.
Get out of their comfort zone.
And then the Monte by AJ is spectacular. I would almost say that's a little bit too dark. If I had to fault it a little bit, it's a little too dark. Great draw, decent burn.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm telling anybody to go out and find this. Are you guys what do you think?
It's definitely not a go out and find. It's like for me,
I'm gonna put it in the middle of the road.
It's like
That's what I feel about it. For
Okay.
impression, it's a good cigar.
you guys are gonna.
Sorry.
I've already scored this cigar, so you're right, Lane. I wouldn't say, hey, seek this out. It's a cigar that you should definitely experience. To me, it's more like a third choice. And when I'm going to, it's not something I'm going to choose regularly.
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't, if someone handed me one of these, like on the golf course or something, I wouldn't cringe. Be like, absolutely. Appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'd enjoy smoking it that much, but.
Oh, I would. Well, on the golf course, you're not really smoking to smoke on the golf course.
Right.
It's 5 or 6 puffs, then you get up and hit a shot, and then 5 or 6 puffs while you're driving your shot, and you go hit something, and then,
And then maybe a cart ride where you puff on it a little bit.
Plus, you've usually got something in there, like coffee or, a beer or something in the cart, so.
Yeah. I mean.
I don't like beer when it gets warm, so I usually don't drink.
Maybe you just shouldn't let it get warm.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not a big beer person to begin with, usually. That's why we drink whiskey on this podcast.
Will's dying over there. He's like, yeah, that answer.
Yeah.
He's like, back in my day.
I don't drink warm beer. Not anymore. I used to.
Yeah?
Oh. Yeah, if the beer got warm, you can't waste the beer. Slug it. If it's warm, it's going to be easier to put down warm because you're not going to taste it. You don't want to
You're not
taste it.
trying to.
You're basically drinking for effect at this point.
See, and I like dark beers too, so I go for stouts more often.
Oh, I just picked up, completely off topic, and then we'll get scores. I just picked up the Black Tuesday by the brewery.
Is that really?
It's a relatively expensive bourbon barrel-aged stout. It's supposed to be exceptional. It's one of the few bourbon barrel-aged stouts I haven't had.
It's not like that other one that we saw that was really expensive.
$300? No, it's not Utopia's. And I like bourbon barrel-aged stouts a lot. And it wasn't that. It was like $48 or something.
What are we coming back to with me?
Scores.
Oh, no, I thought it was dark beer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he said he liked stouts. I didn't know we were going back to you.
Sure.
He just piped in and said, I like stouts.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about beer and like warm beer, and I'm like, I prefer stouts, and I usually drink those fairly quick before they get warm.
Well,
See, I used to drink the Heineken Dark and then Guinness. And I liked the Heineken because it was a little smoother, where the Guinness had a little more edge to it. But that's...
I don't know what Heineken Dark. I don't know what kind of beer it is. I've never looked at it because I don't drink Heineken.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we've
Guess
totally moved away from the cigar. I've noticed here.
We did.
Yes.
You're gonna pull it back,
Scores.
right?
Who wants scores?
I want scores.
All right. Draw 16, flavor 22, burn 7, impression 21, 66, I think.
Well,
I thought I was going to be pretty bad, but Lane is definitely right around the score that I got. So my draw is an 8. My flavor, I was generous, 28. My burn I have a little bit of difficulty with it.
Is it running on you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I had to trim it, so to speak. So for the burn, I went with 6, and for the impression, 18.
Okay.
I mean, I was being generous with the score, and I think I'm at 60.
You're at 60.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Let's see.
Why are you so out of focus all of a sudden, Will?
Me?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I'll have to change that for the podcast.
All right, so we're all around the same.
We're all around 60.
Yeah, all around 60.
Oh,
What
I
are
know
you? What are you?
So my draw was a 17.
Oh, really? Okay.
Flavor was a 24. Burn was an 8. Impression, I gave it a 16 for impression. Because, like I said, it's middle of the road for me, so I gave it like a point above that.
Okay.
And it's not something I would go out of my way to find, but if it was there and it was like amongst all the other ones that I don't care for, I'd probably pick it for sure.
So I get you. Yeah. I would say, for the draw, I scored it at an 8, and I had troubles with it in the beginning. I had troubles getting it to go. And then once I got it go, the burn just took off in an odd way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I haven't had any problems like that with mine.
I haven't either. I got a good one this time.
I don't usually
What?
have a problem, but this one, on this cigar that I have in my hand is, has got a little bit of quality issue. But anyway,
So-
that's why I scored it that way with the draw and the burn. And like you said, 8. I put an 18. I think you put a 16 for impression.
I did.
Okay, and so
And Elaine gave it a 21, so
did he? Well, that was generous.
we're right around where
That was generous.
we should be.
But I mean, just because I think I can justify the 18 because it's not a cigar that I'm going to tell somebody to go and smoke. I'm not going to have an urge to go and pick this up. It's not for me. It's like I'm going to forget about this cigar. Unfortunately.
See,
Go ahead.
I won't, but it's because I have an incredible affinity for Cuban Bolivars. And so
Yeah.
when I see it, there's always that, for better or for worse, I'm like, ooh, I could get one of those.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct when they're basically trading on tradition and origin. You said it really really well. History.
History and tradition.
Yeah, history.
I'm stealing from the Bruin decision on the Second Amendment.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I just see the band. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. And I don't have that problem with Monty. I don't have that problem with Cohiba. I don't have that problem with H. Upman. The Bolivar, I don't have that problem with Partagas. The Bolivar, they look really similar, same style.
Right.
I wonder if it's better this time.
Nope.
No.
So the Bolivar. I identify the Bolivar, but it's like, oh, I know it's not a Cuban Bolivar, so therefore it's probably not worth going after.
Well, I
Here's-
mean, even the ones that we have now from Cuba, you have to make sure that you give it some time to age to begin with.
Oh yeah, Cubans are way too young now.
absolutely.
But here's the other thing with this, right? There is a group of people I golf with, not everybody, but one of the groups that I golf with. Mm-hmm. If I were to take out Dunbartons or Aganorsas or something really good that doesn't have name recognition,
Right.
they'd be disappointed. If I were to take out Bolivars, they'd be excited.
Yes.
Even though I
Agreed.
wouldn't score these nearly as high as those.
Right.
Just because they're going for the name.
Well,
Because they see it and they're like, ooh.
yeah. They're
I
not,
mean,
they're not familiar.
In this group is the same person that paid $18.50 for a box of 10 of the Limitada Cuban Cohiba Anniversarios that just came out
1850.
for 10 cigars. He offered me one. I was like, no, I'm good.
Really?
That'll make you feel like you're indebted to him at that point.
Yeah.
For that price. So our grand total comes out to, what was it? 63.3. Not bad for the cigar.
I think it's right where it's supposed to be.
It should be.
Yeah. It's. that 60 is low end for us when we score.
Yeah. More for you guys. My scores seem to live between like 65 and 80.
Yeah.
It's really hard for a cigar to get above 80 with me.
Well,
There's been like 3 that have.
Yeah.
And I think there's only been one that broke 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but for you, Lane, you're not a fanboy, I don't think, like I am with Liga. So for your scores to live between 65 and 90 or 65 and 85, I get that because there's not, well, you really like the Dumbarton or the Warhawks, right?
Well, so the Warhawk, like in here, 8 days out of 10, unless I've got samples that I have to smoke through, 8 days out of 10, the Warhawk is my first cigar of the night. I really like it in that context. It's a great way to introduce your palate to cigars for the day, right? And then there's a bunch of stuff in there that I smoke. I mean, there's nothing in there that I don't smoke, really.
Right. I mean, you're pretty diverse across the board.
Yeah.
What?
Except for flavors.
Oh,
Absolutely
that
hates
corner
flavors.
can suck it. I hate that corner. Listen, they're my customers, so I treat them well, or I try to. But there's that little voice in the back of my head when someone lights up a groovy blue that goes, who the fuck just did that?
Then you check to see who it is.
You know, I mean,
Makes sense.
You just follow the smell. You're like, oh, there it is right there.
It's really...
And I can smell it. Like, I can be on the other side of the room and someone lights that thing up. I immediately know.
So you sold this guy a flavored cigar, and I was
Last night?
No, just a couple nights ago, or
Okay.
about a week or so ago, maybe, or longer. But you sold him a flavored cigar, and that's what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna leave. Nope. He sits down 2 chairs away from me and lights that puppy up, and the way the air flows in this room.
It just hit you?
Yeah, and it continued to hit me. And it's like,
I mean, if that's what people like, that's what they like. I just
Yeah.
have a hard time with them.
right, I agree. I mean, so when somebody says, "Oh, flavored in what they want," it's like I have to go, "Oh, okay, that's what they like." But down the back of my spine goes,
I even have a different cutter for flavored cigars because if I use
Yep.
my cutter
"Got it."
and I cut a cigar, I can taste it on my cigar.
That makes sense.
You need to clean your cutter then.
That's interesting. That
I just use a different cutter. And also, flavored cigars, the consistency of the tobacco changes a little bit, especially if they're infused. Like bourbon
that
barrel
was-
aged, not so much.
because the oil's in
But
it?
if it's legitimately infused, so those serrated lotus cutters,
Yeah.
don't use them for anything else. But on flavored cigars, they work perfect.
All right.
so. This is not a flavored cigar.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow.
I mean,
Will's like, get your asses back to the review.
yeah. I mean, come on.
60, what was the score?
63.6 repeating.
We're just rambling at this point.
Yes, we are.
63.6. Don't be offended if someone gives one of these to you. What do I do? What stamp do I give this? Do I give it a fail stamp or an approved stamp? I don't think it gets an approved stamp.
I don't think it gets.
I'm not
approved
sure.
stamp.
Fail seems a little harsh. Should I get a split decision stamp?
I think it should be like a split decision at that point. But I mean, we weren't that split on it. It got a D, roughly. Well, actually, yeah.
I should just make a mediocre stamp.
Yeah, mediocre.
In fact, it needs to be in my diction. So what it needs to say is terribly average.
Terribly average, yes. You heard it here first. It's terribly average.
Oh God.
All right, I'm done.